Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Berg with today's math lesson. This is Wednesday's math lesson, Unit 7, Lesson 11, Points on the Coordinate Plane. You will need at least one highlighter today, so grab your highlighter, grab your math notes, something to write with, and let's get started. So obviously, just like the lesson says, we're going to be actually putting points on a coordinate plane, understand how the coordinate plane is laid out, how the points work, so on. So let's kind of start off with a quick little warm-up. This is called Guess My Line. So you've got a part of a coordinate plane. Quick review, the horizontal axis is called the x-axis, and the vertical axis is always the y-axis. Another quick review, whenever we're talking about ordered pairs, it's always the x-coordinate followed by the y-coordinate. So, gotta remember all that when we're working with the plane. So, question 1 says, choose a horizontal or vertical line on the grid. So we're going to pick either a horizontal line or one of the vertical lines. Then we have to draw 4 points on the line, and then they want us to label each point with the coordinates. Okay, so we're doing a couple things here. I'm going to go ahead and use my orange highlighter. I'm going to pick a horizontal line. So let's just say I'm going to go up to the 4 on my y-axis, and I'm just going to highlight all the way across my plane, just like that. Okay, so I just did the first part. Now I'm going to draw 4 points on the line. I'm just going to stick points. So let's say my first point I'm going to put at, we'll kind of do these two together. It makes it easier. I'm going to go over 2. I'm going to go up 4. I'm going to place my point, and I'm going to label it 4 is my first point. I'm going to pick another line. Now this time I'm going to go over 5, and I'm going to go up to 4. And we have 5, 4. My third one, I'm going to go all the way over to the 9, and I'm going to come up at 4. And now we have 9, 4. And for my fourth and final point, I'll go all the way down to 14, up to the 4, 14, 4. Hopefully you notice that because we drew a line horizontally, all of the y coordinates were the same number because we would go over and up 4, over, up 4, so on and so forth. So just something to kind of notice and wonder. We've done those in class today. We can't do number 2, talks about having partners, and don't have partners right now, so cross out number 2. All right, but if we come down here, let me just kind of move my paper up for you guys, because all these 3 here, they all kind of have to do with number 2, so we're going to skip those 3. Just a quick review on quadrants in the coordinate plane. We've got a table here, and then we have an actual coordinate plane. Remember when we do the coordinate plane, they're labeled quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Anything found in quadrant 1, both of the coordinates are going to be positive numbers. So your x and your y will both be positives. Moving counterclockwise to quadrant 2, now you're going to always have a negative x coordinate followed by a positive y coordinate, because you'd have to move over negative and then up positive. Quadrant 3, this is the quadrant where both of your coordinates in your ordered pair will be negative numbers because you're going over negative, down negative. And lastly, in quadrant 4, this is where you'd have a positive x coordinate followed by a negative y coordinate. And once again, when we work with all 4 quadrants, we do move in a counterclockwise position with the quadrant. That's why this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't know why it's done that way. Probably should research it. Who invented that? Not sure why it had to go counterclockwise. Sometimes we also can do little shortcuts for these quadrants. This can just be quadrant and then the Roman numeral 1. Quadrant 2 is sometimes abbreviated Q with Roman numeral 2. Quadrant 3 is oftentimes abbreviated with a Q followed by Roman numeral 3, and lastly, quadrant 4, shortcut with the Q followed by the Roman numeral for 4. Okay, and again, this table kind of outlines what we just did. I kind of prefer seeing it right on the coordinate plane itself. So let's go ahead, guys, and turn and do our next practice problem for today. Okay. Now this time around, if you notice, this is actually a 4-quadrant coordinate plane. All 4 quadrants are visible on the plane. Question 1 says label each point. So we're going to label the point with the ordered pair. So we're going to come up and we're just going to figure out where are they. So let's just start with A. We're going to go over 3 and up 4. So for A, we would simply do parentheses 3, comma 4. Coming over here to B, we're going to go over -1, -2, -3, -4, and then up +2. So B would be -4, comma, +2. Point C, we're going over -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and then going down -1, -2, -3. So this would be -5, followed by -3. Lastly, we have D. We went over 4, and then we went down, comma, 2. So this is called labeling. All right. Number 2, what do you notice about the locations in ordered pair for B, C, and D? How are they different from those of point A? Well, let's go ahead. This won't take us very long. And write the A through D points followed by their ordered pairs. So A was 3, comma 4. B was -4, comma 2. C was -5, comma -3. And D was 4, -2. I think I might have forgot the negative sign, guys, when we label this point. So go back there and put the negative symbol in front of the 2. Was in a little bit of a hurry. So if I look at all these, the main difference I notice is that in A I have 2 positive numbers, but in B, C, and D there was at least 1 negative number. So how are they different? Okay, from point A, we can simply say they have a negative number in the pair. They have a negative number in the ordered pair. We use proper math terminology. That's just another one of these notice and wonders. We've been doing these all year where I ask you, what do you notice? What do you wonder? Moving on to number 3, it says plot a point, -2, +5, and label it E. Then it says plot another point at +3, -4.5, and label it F. So let's just go and do that. We'll start with this one. We have to you always want to start at the 0, 0, where the 2 axes intersect. So we're here at 0. I'm going to go over -2 and then up +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I am sitting way up here, and it tells us to label this point E. Okay. Oop, you guys can't see that. Sorry about that. I went up here, 2, and then up to 5. Then it says we're going to go over 3, 1, 2, 3, and down -4.5. So we're right here, and label this F. Okay, that's just practice labeling, again, ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. Number 4 says the coordinate plane is divided into 4 quadrants. Yes, we know this, 1, 2, 3, 4. In which quadrant is G located, H and I? So we've got here points G, H, and I. We don't even have to plot these to know which quadrant they're going to fall into when we understand, okay, that in quadrant 1, it's always going to be plus, plus. In quadrant 2, it's always going to be negative followed by a plus. Quadrant 3 is our negative, negative. In quadrant 4 is our plus and our negative. So once we kind of have that memorized, we can know exactly where these points are going to end up. G is in a positive, positive. So that means G is going to be in Q quadrant 1. H is 2 negative, numbers, that's going to apply down here. So H is going to be quadrant 1, 2, 3, quadrant 3. And I is positive 7, negative 4. That fits this description. So that's going to be quadrant 4. Okay, you could plot them in there, but we don't even have to do that. Okay, we can just tell by looking at it. B says a point has a positive y coordinate. Okay, so again, if we remember, ordered pairs are x followed by y. In which quadrant could this be? So this here has to be positive. Okay, so if we look up here, okay, we've got, it can be a positive if it's in quadrant 1 or if it's in quadrant 2. So actually, it could be found either quadrant 1 or quadrant 2, okay, because the y coordinate is positive number. Right? Flipping over. Now this one, be nice if it was colored, but it's not, it's black and white. So I'm going to have to kind of make sure you guys understand what, it's like a dartboard, what the colors are, like a bullseye. It's like a, well actually they call it an archery target. So let's quickly label the colors because you're going to need to know that. So the one right here, right in the middle, like the bullseye one, this is going to be your yellow. So I'll just say Y for yellow. Then the darker one, okay, after it, this is going to be your red. After red, we have blue, so B for blue. Get that in there. The last one here for color, we have G for green. And then the very outer one, that's W, which means white. So now we know what the colors are, even though we really can't see the colors. What we're going to do is name the coordinates for a possible landing point to score. All right, so if we're in yellow, okay, which is worth 10 points, I have to find some point that's going to land me right in here. Now, if you notice looking at this closely, guys, this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So most of this target is putting us right around quadrant 3. Okay, so most of these are going to have a negative x coordinate and a negative y coordinate. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them. So we'll start with this first one. It says here, I just earned 6 points. Well, if I come up here, 6 points puts me in the blue area. All right, so the blue is kind of this third colored ring. So I can pretty much pick any point. So I'm going to go over -2 and I'm going to come down to -5. So it's going to put me right there. Don't know if you guys can see that really well because it's kind of dark on dark. Do my best. So what I did is I went to -2, -5. My second point, oh, 10 points. Must have scored a bullseye. It's put me right in the yellow. That's what 10 points are worth. So I'm going to come over to -5 and I'm going to come down to -4. It's going to put me right inside that yellow. So -5, -4. Number 3, I have 2 points. Well, 2 points, that's going to put me in the white. You can pretty much pick any number on the white. And I'm going to go all the way over here to -9, and I'm going to come down to -5, way over here. -9, -5. Number 4 is I scored no points, so basically you can pick any point that's nowhere close to this target. I'll just come over here and pick a point. Maybe I'm going to have +2 and -2. Why not? Stick it right there. There's a lot of choices. That's just the point that I picked. You could pick a different point. Number 5, 4 points. That puts me in a green area. So green, let's see here, I'm going to go over -6 and I'm just going to come down -1 right there. So -6, -1. In my last shot, I scored 8 points. That puts me in the red. So I'm going to pick a dot on the red. I'm going to go over -3 and I'm going to go down to -4. So I'm right on the cusp of the red. -3, comma, -4. Okay? And that's pretty much all what today's lesson is about. Finding points, knowing where to plot them, knowing which coordinates they go into. So, with that being said, dun, 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 it is your homework time, guys. It is time for you to pause this video. Go back to your Google Classroom and pull up your practice problems for lesson 3. Work on your problems, and then when you're done, come back and check them. So again, on your paper here, you should be still putting your name and number, and you really need to be labeling your practice problems, guys, because when we start doing, I'm going to start doing check-in reviews where you can use your notes and you can use your practice problems. You're going to want to have all of your practice problem papers clearly labeled so you can find them quickly. So again, this is Unit 7. We are in Lesson 11 today, plus you have one Khan Academy assignment to do as well. So let's go ahead and get your homework done, and I'll check in with you in some time. Okay, welcome back. It is time for us to do our homework check. All right, so let me get my homework in front of me, and let's see how you did on your practice problems, checking your practice problems. So number 1 was simply, again, just graphing points on a coordinate plane. I gave you a coordinate plane. These are the points right up here that you needed to graph. Let's see if your graph matches mine. First one was a -2, followed by a +3, that's way up here. Then we have -2, +3, that's over here. -2, -3, that's down here. And +2, -3, that's right there. Then 4 tells you to connect the dots. So let's connect. Gosh, I haven't played this game in a long time. I'm going to highlight them just so you can kind of see what I connected. Hopefully yours looks like mine if you did it right. And that says describe the figure. Well, this is just a rectangle. So hopefully you wrote rectangle on the line. Moving on to number 2, I did do A for you, so a hint, like an example to get you started. You're simply going to write the X and Y coordinates, or what makes an ordered pair on the lines. I did A for you because, again, yes, you can have a dot that falls right on the X-axis, and also have a dot that falls on the Y-axis, just like B. So with B here, we didn't go over left or right at all, so your x-axis is simply the 0. You just stayed right there, but you did come down -3, right? So that's okay. Yes, you can have dots on the axes. Then moving on to C, if you notice, these skip counted by 2 if you looked at the numbers here. So it's -2, -4, -6. So that is your X coordinate. And then we went up 2, 4, and then halfway one other, 5. D here, let's see here. We went over -2 plus 1, so we're at -3. And then we went down to 4 plus 1, -5. And lastly, E, we went over, we just went over -1.